Hello, 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 everyone. If you are watching the replay or if you're joining live, today we are talking to Ryan Wagner. He's going to be speaking at the Year of the Man Summit about how to help men become more conscious in relationships. So today he's going to be joining me on this live stream where we're just going to get to find out a little bit more about him. Hey, everyone who is joining live, I appreciate you. I can't wait to talk to Ryan once he joins the chat. But any questions that you have about men's mental health, please go ahead and put them below. And I will answer them until he joins in. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. If you haven't gotten your free ticket for the Year of the Man Summit, make sure to DM me the word free or sign up the link in my bio. It's this weekend. There's 4 days left until the Year of the Man Summit. So Ryan is here. He's going to join us in the video. He's just going to request to join, but I'm going to type in the chat where to get your free ticket. Hang on. Hang on, guys. Typing in the chat. Okay. Just have to pin this. Okay. Now we're going to wait. Ryan's going to join us. Ryan just has to request to join. Hey, everyone. The Year of the Man Summit is a completely online summit. There is 11 plus content creators. We have Sabrina Zohair with Do the Work podcast. She's got almost 1 million followers on both TikTok and Instagram. She talks about attachment styles, toxic relationships. We have Ryan Wagner, who is a financial advisor. He's going to be talking about his personal journey as a man, becoming more conscious in relationships. Tommy McAllister, who's a Christian marriage coach and also a men's coach with his wife, Diane McAllister. Lots and lots of different perspectives, opinions, teachers who are all doing this for you guys for free. Of course, if you want VIP, you join the VIP section where you can actually to go through. So we're waiting. Just Ryan's about to join us just in 1 second. And you're never too late for help. That's impossible. You can always improve. Hey, Ryan.
Hi, Elise. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Awesome.
I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, same.
Everybody, this is Ryan. Me and Ryan actually have a very interesting starter story. Ryan actually he was one of my followers. And then he saw one of my videos last year in May and knew a couple that I actually went to go live with. So it was a crazy start to our story. And then I met him for the first time at that conference that I spoke at. And I just appreciated his perspective so much and his journey as a man so much. I asked him to speak for the Year of the Man Summit, which is the whole thing that I've been advertising to you guys with all the different speakers. So thank you so much for being here, Ryan. And I'm just wondering if you can kind of give the guys maybe your perspective for just a second on, like, why are you speaking at the summit? Why do you think it's important to come to this?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, I love our story. Can't wait to share it more. But why I think you're having me here is really just I'm a regular guy that has been bumping up against a lot of the same things that I think most guys go through. And I have been putting in a ton of work on myself. And so often I can see myself in the behaviors of like other men all the time. And I'm like, yep, I used to do that kind of stuff. Yep, I used to be that way. And now it's like it's a conscious decision and it's different beliefs and a whole kinds of other stuff that has got me to kind of a point where I behave much different. I am much different at this point. So
yeah,
I think it's just I'm here to just try to give everybody, I guess, maybe a little bit of hope. Not that I am, perfect by any means or healed in any, way, because the work's never done. But there is light at the end of the tunnel if you're willing to do the work.
Right. Well, and even though you're not a coach or anything like that, you have helped me through some dark places. And I know that you've gone through some dark places. And one of the reasons why I wanted to ask you to speak was because you had told me you used to be a guy who was not very healthy and did not have very healthy behaviors, right?
Exactly. Yep. I thought I was, very woke, conscious in a lot of ways. And then I really went through a divorce and then a relationship right after that. And it was so painful for me to see how I behaved and how I acted. And I was like, I'm not like this. This isn't who I am. But I did a lot of really manipulative and, um, just not like healthy things in order to get my needs met. I didn't even know what my needs were. I didn't know I had needs, you know? And so it was like, it's the way every relationship is, right? It's always a big mirror for us, and that's exactly what that first relationship was for me after my divorce was, um, a big mirror, and yeah, showed me a lot about myself, things I didn't want to see,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Well, and the thing is, this didn't happen to you at like a super young age. Like you had continued to carry out these behaviors until what time? Because I think a lot of men kind of give up because they feel like maybe they're too old to change or they've been doing the same thing for a long time. But this didn't happen to you at like 23 years old or even 30 years old. Like what age did you actually make your transformation?
Um, I would say that the biggest kind of pivot was really last year when I was really mourning the grief of that relationship. So that was, I just turned 40 in December. So that was
So
really
at
my
39 years
39 years
old.
old. Yeah.
So
Yep.
So just for anybody listening at any age, like, dude, Ryan is one of the healthiest men that I know, one of the most conscious, one of the most aware, one of the most beautiful men that I know. And he literally told me he didn't make this change until last year. So that didn't give me a lot of hope for my own dating life, but it did give me a lot of hope for the fact that men can change at any point and at any age if you choose to want that path, because he had already thought that he'd done the work, and I'm sure you had done a lot of precursor work, self-development work. You were a self-sufficient guy, but there were some things that needed to click in order for you to completely make the shift and show up in relationships and be conscious and be aware of your own patterns so that you could really just push yourself over the edge, right?
Million percent. Exactly. I think actually doing a lot of the self-development work from, my early to mid 30s until 39 years old was, um, I don't want to say part of the problem, but it was definitely part of the problem in my relationship where like you
Mm.
get to this place where it's like you've intellectualized your healing, like you know what you're doing and you think you know everything and like, oh, I've got this. I've done this before. I know what's going on here. And you project that to the other person, and that's not fair. Like, oh, I know what you're doing wrong. I know what you're doing. This is like I've done my healing, right? And um and it's always all about ourselves. Like that's the biggest thing I think that I have really come to just accept is that everything that we go through, every trigger, every time you get upset, you're complicit in getting upset. The other person may have done something um objectively wrong, right? Like let's say use cheating. That's a pretty easy example. But if you got upset over that, then there's a part of you that is complicit in that. That is like allowing yourself to be hurt about that, to make it mean something about yourself. And that's the whole key.
Wow, that's very powerful when you say you make it mean something about yourself, because there are a lot of people who have been betrayed or been hurt or disrespected, and they don't see it as a reflection of the other person's behavior. We see it as a reflection of us. And I think a lot of men get trapped in these relationships because they take that on as a responsibility, like, okay, I need to change in order to get the respect that I'm wanting or get the love that I'm wanting, or, XYZ, right?
100%. I mean, it's a really fine line to walk for men just because we're, our worth isn't determined by what we do, but we also an element of being a healthy masculine man is providing, which is a result, which is something that we do. So like if so it's very fine line, right? And if somebody is not meeting our needs, and we might not, again, I wasn't even aware or conscious of my needs, but if somebody's not meeting our needs, then we tend, I would say men in general tend to say like, well, what am I not doing to make this person want to meet my needs, right? Like what can I do better? How can I be, how can I transform myself? And when the other person's not meeting your needs, it doesn't mean anything about you. But we certainly, I think, make it mean things about us, that's for sure.
Okay. And well, taking that into account, I mean, do you think that men have to go through something incredibly painful in order to understand their needs, or is there a way that they can start understanding their needs before that happens?
Um, that's a great question, Elise. And I would say that I don't think that everybody has to go through devastating breakup or, something traumatic like a loss, but there is such a thing as like, and it doesn't exist really in today's day and age by and large, but there is such a thing as like an initiation, like when you go from boyhood to manhood, and that is a trial. That is a challenge for you to really understand kind of who you are. And I think that is a large part of why, if it's not manufactured as part of like I said, initiation into manhood, then life will kind of provide it for you at some point.
Wow, that's really powerful. And I'm really glad that you said that because I actually have a whole workshop in the Better Man membership on the initiation of man, because you're right. We have lost the concept of initiating men and women into adulthood. It's kind of like this thing that we bypass. And so what I kind of framed in the masterclass was, when you don't understand your role as a child versus an adult, you take your childhood with you into being an adult, which means whatever you did to please your parents or please the first woman or man in your life is what you're going to try to do to please your spouse. And it doesn't work like that, because your spouse is not your parent. And so many men, I think, fall into the trap of either becoming the parent or being parentified by their spouse, which is like the classic wife is nagging you, doesn't let you do your own stuff, like, and then you rebel by just like being lazier about it, not listening, not giving a shit, and then the relationship loses all polarity, all sensuality, and it falls apart. So it's kind of like you said, those moments have to happen in order for us to like wake up from the fact that we've been carrying all this weight from our childhood into the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it makes so much sense. Like I'm such a logical guy, and it just makes so much sense that we're for the first 18 plus years of our life, like we literally are not allowed, this is men and women, right? We're not allowed to go out and make decisions on our own. We have to constantly be under the control or hey, even when you're 16 years old, you got your license, like, hey, mom and dad, is it okay if I go out, right? Like you have to like ask for permission to just do, kind of pretty basic things that when you become an adult, you don't have to ask for permission for. And there's not any conversations that I'm aware of that happen for people when they're 16 years old or 18 years old to be like, okay, like now it's different. Now you need to people please and behave so that you can like get what you want. You just like are inherently like worthy, and you need to know what you need, not what you kind of want, and how to, we're really good at figuring out how to manipulate from a very young age about like, I'm hungry, my diaper is full, I cry, I get attention, right? I mean, it's just who human beings are. And to try to be different than that when you become an adult without any awareness is really, that's where the initiation is. That's where you just kind of fail a lot until you figure out that like this isn't a healthy way to go about this anymore.
Okay. Well, and speaking of that, I know that both me and you have been going through some hard
Yeah.
times lately. What would you say as a man? Because, the thing for men is that they don't usually feel like they can reach out to people. What what advice would you give to men who are kind of like struggling or have been in the same spot that you've been in the last few days, the last week?
Man, um, I would say that man, that is such a loaded question, at least, right? So I'm gonna go a little bit deep because that's just what I do, right? So if you have a kind of a father wound, you didn't have a great relationship with your dad, then speaking from my experience, I didn't have a great relationship with my dad at all because he was a narcissist. Like textbook. I know it's a hot thing to say, but this was clinically diagnosed narcissism. Um, it made it very unsafe for me, or I felt very unsafe to go and have like vulnerable relationships with men for like until I was 39 years old. And I realized like, wow, everyone that I go to when I'm feeling like emotional or I need emotional support is all female. Like where is that coming from? And why is that the case? Like, that's not how, it kind of I don't want to say should be, but like, what am I getting from women that I'm not getting from like my male friends? And so that's like kind of one aspect of it, right? If you're going through some stuff, are you just speaking to a lot of, men, or are you speaking to a lot of women? I think that is something to be curious about. And then beyond that, like, we're really, a lot of us really are like, especially if you're the, like me, I'm the helper, I'm the problem solver, I'm the one that everybody comes to when they have a problem. So when I have a problem, I, for a very long time, didn't feel like I had permission to go and talk to anybody about my stuff. Because if I don't got me, then how can I have them? And that's where my value or that's what I believe, right? Is my value is in the ability to help my friends and other people. And if I don't have that, um, if I don't have me, then they're not going to trust me to have this. So then I'm worthless, right? So then I'm just going to internalize this and do it all myself. And um, that's a really lonely and dangerous place to be, because I think the biggest thing, at least, that, like, what I would say to everybody is that the people that love you the most, you're robbing them of the same joy or the same fulfillment that you get from helping them, right? And it never occurred to me until I heard somebody tell me that, is that, yeah, like, dude, you're my best friend. You help me with all my stuff. And the fact that you won't come to me when you're suffering is like, it means you don't, I feel like it means you don't trust me. It means like you don't value, what I could bring to the table. And it robs me of being the one that can finally be there for you. And I was like, as somebody that wants to help other people all the time, that was huge to hear. So if you're all by yourself and you're thinking that that's the only way to get through it, it's not at all.
Yeah, that's really powerful advice. And I love what you brought up about the father wound, because many men experience a father wound and a mother wound. And I think that's something to acknowledge when you go through these huge healing periods, is the sudden anger or resentment or sadness or grief that will come up towards your parents when you lose a relationship or something similar, like something you're not even thinking of or you hadn't even thought about for like 10, 15, 20 years. Um, or maybe you thought you had let go, that suddenly comes up because you realize the connection between the two things. How if mom and dad didn't do XYZ, then I really wouldn't have learned the behavior pattern to get me here. So allowing room for all of these emotions to happen at the same time, especially as a man, to not feel ashamed about that, to not feel like you can't feel sad or grief or anger,
Mm.
especially about past things. And to know that when you feel those things, it's not because you're blaming someone or something and you're not absolving yourself of responsibility to heal it, but that's part of taking responsibility and healing the thing. Because the second that you just kick it aside and shove it back down, it comes up like 100-fold later on.
You said so much there. I want to say that, like, the thing that was maybe the biggest lesson that I have learned in my entire life to this point is around emotions with men, right? So there's tons of content out there about how men, quote unquote, and it's not really just men, but we'll just say men are not emotionally available, right? Um, and that's a whole topic for another day. So then, like, okay, the what does it mean to be emotionally available, right? You express your emotions, you're in touch with your emotions. Okay. So then when you're angry, like you just said, or you're sad, like you just said, like, can I be angry to my partner? Can I cry in front of my partner, right? If that's what I need to do. And the answer, sorry guys, is no. Like, not that you can't feel those things, but here's the whole key that, like I said, was huge for me, is that the feminine, healthy feminine energy is that's emotional. And emotional is not emotional availability. Emotional is that when you're angry, do you like express anger? Like, you talk with your hands, you get really red in the face. Does your volume of your voice go up? Do you get, visibly, like, you could tell that somebody's angry? That's okay for women to do. And there's a double standard here, but it's okay, guys. Like, this is like what the part is, that it's like, I have to just express that this is the sweet spot that I have found, is that that's all okay. If you do that as a man, anger especially, it removes the woman's safety, like, immediately. And safety is probably the hardest thing to repair, way more than trust. Okay. And so what men have to do is have the resources, have a coach, have a therapist, have a best friend that they can call and be like, I am so fucking pissed, and rage out and have their outlet for the anger or whatever the emotion is that they need to get out. And then go back to their partner and say, hey, when this happened, when you did this, when you told me to put the dishes in the dishwasher, the one time I didn't, after the last 3 weeks that I have, because I've been trying really hard. Like, that's what we're feeling, right? Is that you're not appreciating all the effort that I made. And I'm angry that you pointed out the one time you didn't. That made me like that. I got upset when that happened. And if you say it in a calm voice, like I got really angry when that happened, then you're still emotionally available. You're still in touch with your emotions and you're communicating in a safe way so that the woman can actually be like, okay, he's processed this. It's not an unprocessed emotion that he's coming to me with that I have to fix and solve. It is already processed. And that is a huge game changer.
Yeah, you just brought up something that is so important to understand, because this is where it starts. If a man does not have an emotionally available mother to help him reflect back his emotions so that he can understand how to process them, he's going to have his relationship be the only outlet. So usually what men do is they hold everything inside until they physically can't anymore, then have these outbursts that then make the woman feel super unsafe, because he's not a child anymore that's having a tantrum. He's a grown adult man who comes off as very intimidating and very scary. And like, it's not just about, like, because I see a lot of notes about men feeling like they can't express their emotions because a woman's going to use it against them, et cetera, et cetera. It's like you said, it's the safety, because a lot of men don't express their emotions in a calm way and say how they feel. They have an outburst, they have a tantrum. So like for me, like, I'm totally okay if a man cries in front of me and whatever, but the second that he has a rage moment where I feel unsafe, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Right? Because then I feel like, holy shit, like, this dude does not know how to control himself. And so I then feel like I have to walk on eggshells and I can no longer express myself. And so that's why it's very important, like you said, to have another person, not just a person that you go to for all of your emotions, but a person who can help you understand the emotions, help you understand how to articulate them, help you understand how to become self-sufficient, like your caregivers should have when you were little. And that's the thing. This is something that should be done for us when we're little. And a lot of us don't get that. A lot of us don't get that. Even women don't get that. And a lot of women are emotionally unstable as well. And they're freaking out. And they shouldn't get a free pass to be super angry and crazy, unstable, and emotional either. Like, just because women are more in tune with their emotions doesn't mean that they get a free pass to be abusive and toxic either.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't what I was trying to get across. It's just that
Yeah.
it's just that men need to be safety equals consistency. And
Mm,
so if you are consistently the same guy, you show up the same way every time, no matter what's happening in life. Like, it doesn't matter if you lost your job or the sky is falling, it doesn't matter. If you can show up consistently to your partner and share what's going on in a consistent way, that equals safety. And but you have to be able to process those emotions either yourself or with someone, especially at the beginning. And that's huge. So yeah.
okay. And will someone ask in the chat, what do you do if you don't have this other person to go to?
So there's so many resources available for you to be able to process these emotions yourself, right? So we can use anger as one, but honestly, there are lots of women that are uncomfortable with a man crying, at least, right? Because they are not in touch with their own emotions. Women have a very similar but different kind of wound, right? Like, you have to be the good girl. You have to be quiet. Like, so women to express emotions, that was a way for them to get attention and was not okay. So if a guy comes to you and is crying, it's like, I can't even express my own stuff. Like, like, this is not okay, right?
Right.
So it doesn't even have to be anger. Um, but for healthy releases for anger, like, for me, anger used to be so reflexive. Like, I didn't even know it was coming until, like, it was just already out. I'm like, wow, how can I get ahead of this so that I'm not saying and doing things that I later regret immediately, because I got so angry. And the only way to do that is you have to get, it's somatic. You have to get in touch with your body, because everybody thinks, myself included, that I got like an external stimulus and it came in, and then I had a thought, and the thought is what made me angry. And it's like, there's actually something that happens before then. There's a great book, The Body Keeps the Score. Anybody that hasn't read it, start there. And you first actually experience emotions in your body somewhere, right? When you get angry, you have a physiological reaction. You get, your heart races, you maybe get hot, your breath shortens. And if you get to become aware of those things, then you get to be like, okay, I'm getting angry here. So what do I want to do? And what I want to do is I need to walk away. So, depending on your partner, you say like, I need a minute. I'm really upset right now, and I need a minute before like we cross the threshold. And you go and scream at a pillow, you punch a pillow, you go for a walk, like whatever you've got to do. And just reassure them that you're going to come back if you need to, right? Like if it's, you're going to be gone for a while because you're still processing the stuff, and it's going to linger, right? Like emotions, until you get them out, emotions are just energy in motion. Like they're just energy in your body that needs to come out. So if you got to release it, whether that's tears or anger, like you might need to write a letter. You might need that, you never have to send. Just like get it out. You can record a voice note on your phone and scream as loud as you freaking want, right? You can, if you need to cry because you're sad about something, bury your face in a pillow. Like there's so many things that you can do on your own. There's lists that are available online, like, how to self-regulate your emotions. But it all starts with recognizing when it's starting in your body. Like that's where all the work starts and ends.
Yes, 100%. I love that. And I love that how conscious you are, right, guys? I mean, this is why I asked him to go on the Year of the Man Summit. Just a reminder, get your free ticket to the Year of the Man Summit. Ryan is going to be one of our keynote speakers. I think he's actually opening up the summit. I have to check,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure he's opening it up on Friday. It's an all-day online summit, access to anyone, no matter what, no matter where. DM me the word free, or sign up, link in my bio, or the link is pinned right there. If you want to ask Ryan questions yourself, make sure to sign up for the VIP ticket. It's literally $300. You get all 3 days, you get all the recordings, you get all the past year's recordings. So do not miss out, because these are coaches, content creators that you can't get a hold of for free, much less like on a summit like this. So I know that Ryan has his own men's group that he hosts in Boston. So yeah, guys, get in there. And I want to be cognizant of his time and your time. So Ryan, is there any last thing that you would say to men who are trying to be better men, trying to move forward?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that you already are a better man. Like you already are everything that you're seeking to be. And there's all these tools and there's these resources and all these things on your path to kind of ultimately just accepting and loving even the parts of you that you think are unlovable. And that's where like the real rubber meets the road, is that you have to be able to love yourself unconditionally. And that is what changes your entire energy, and everything that you really want, desire, and deserve in life starts with you unconditionally loving yourself.
I love that. All right. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here. I can't wait to see you at tomorrow's live and then this weekend at the Year of the Man Summit. Thanks, Ryan, for being here,
My
and
pleasure.
I'll see you on Friday. All right,
Yes.
guys.
Thanks, Elise.
Bye.